Hello everybody and welcome to the Power Source at Upper Room in Preston, Minnesota. Thanks for joining me, or us I should say. As you can see, we've expanded our set. Yes, we built a whole new set just to fit them all in. No, I'm kidding, we didn't really, but anyways, you may recognize these people if you were watching just a little bit ago. We just had a worship set upstairs at Upper Room, and of course I should probably let them introduce themselves because I want you to know a little bit about them. Who wants to go first? Any volunteers?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Annika. I play the piano and sing for the praise team.
Hey.
My name is Sadie and I sing for the praise team.
My name is Vanix. I play drums for the praise team.
My name is Beatty and I play guitar for the praise team.
My name's Gibson. I play bass for the praise team.
And I'm Eric and I watched them. So. They did a great job. Actually, a few people did. We have some parents here too that I think were watching the whole time and doing sound for us. So that was awesome. So you should really probably listen to it to see if the sound was just immaculate this week, because we had the immortal Bruce Dar with us, troubleshooter, Bruce Dar, rock star from Troubleshooter. You may have heard of them. Anyways, so this is actually a really important set that they did upstairs, because I was informed it was actually last set together before people go off different directions. So tell me about this. Like, I didn't even know that actually until after they were done. That's interesting.
But I don't tell you anything.
So you've been like playing as a group for a while, is that right? Like what, a year or two, or?
Oh. We could probably go around and say how many years we've been doing it each. At least some of us figured out how long each of us have done it.
Well, I was just informed that I've been getting on close to 10 years or so.
Only 10. Okay.
Only 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got, I just finished my 12th year.
Wow. With this group.
Yes.
And by the way, this group, in case I didn't say it earlier, what's the official name? Rushford Praise Team?
RLC Praise Team.
RLC Praise Team. From Rushford, Minnesota, just down the road here. So you should stop in and see them sometime. Anyways, yeah. How about you, sir?
I've only been doing it for 4 years.
Only 4. She's the rookie. So you might be doing some more of it, you think?
Yeah,
Or?
for
Awesome.
2 more years.
Good. Just getting started.
I joined the same year that Sadie did.
Okay. Wow. Good. So are you going to continue on
Yeah.
for a little bit at least? Okay. I'm guessing you're probably one of them that's going to head his own direction, though. Huh?
Yeah, I'm right into school here.
Okay.
So,
You're not going to record a record or something? You don't have an album deal yet, or?
no, I'm not really a music creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a whole other career there. So what are you going to school for?
For electrical engineering.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's actually a really good major. We know some people actually.
I know some people, yeah.
And how about you? How long are you gonna be staying with them then, or are you going to do
so.
something? Okay,
Stay with
so kind of changing over members. Do you have some people to jump in? I mean, how do you fill the void here? That's crazy.
We just had a new guitarist start up, and we're trying to find a new pianist to kind of take over. And the membership changes from year to year. Like, sometimes you have people that do it for a few years, you have people that leave and come back. It's kind of a ever rotating type of thing.
Yep.
Because as people have changes in life, a lot of them can step down or step up, and it's really cool to see.
See, I've always kind of enjoyed that though. It adds a different flavor that every time you're worshiping. It's everyone brings something unique to the table. It seems, which is how it should be, I think, in worship. So, so all this time that you spent together, you've probably seen some interesting things, experienced some interesting things, thought some interesting things, had interesting feedback, some embarrassing moments, whatever it is, I'd love to hear some of it, because this is a unique experience that probably not a lot of people at home actually get to experience, or maybe haven't even heard of praise teams. So yeah, tell me about it. What have you seen God do? What experiences have you had? Anything fun? Who wants to go first?
I can't talk the whole time. We've gotten the
They're
chance.
volunteering Annika to be the spokesperson here, I think.
No, we actually have co-spokespeople here, so that's
Okay,
gonna
okay,
cause
good.
a fight. But no,
Okay.
we've gotten the chance to do a lot of really, really cool things. Like we've got to lead the LCMC national convention that ended up being a regional convention. We've gotten to play at a couple different summer camps. We've gotten to play, places like here, a couple different churches. We've gotten a lot of opportunities to just kind of show off what we got. This year we played at the Rushford Days Fest tent.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, we've gotten to go all over. It's important to add that, I think half of our group right now is related. So, I mean, that certainly adds to the dynamics as well. And, we can all fight with each other and we're all really close because we've gotten the opportunity to work with each other for so long. And, it's something where some seasons you meet, like, you're together almost every day, and sometimes, you're only together once a week if even. And so, yeah, we've gotten the chance to do a lot of really awesome things together. I don't know if you guys have other funny stories. Other than just the cool
It's kind of
stuff.
funny this summer. I think I spent more time with you guys than any of my other friends.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
So you were busy.
We've
There was
been
a lot
busy. We've
going
had a
on.
busy summer. We usually don't go into the summer, but we did this year.
Okay.
For the last year, we just wanted to hold on to them a little longer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that works. So how does this work with like a praise band? And I'll let you jump in too. You can answer that last question if you want to. But I also want to know, like, what happens behind the scenes? Is there like practices that happen all the time, or are you just naturally good and you can jump in and play, or a little bit of both, I suppose?
A little bit of both, probably.
Yeah.
We meet weekly, and then sometimes if we can't, we'll add in another day, or sometimes we need to add another day. And then there's practice on our own time too. And
Yeah.
between the singers and the musicians, sometimes
Yeah.
whatever we need, and it usually ends up working out.
Yeah, there are certainly some songs that need some practice, and others you can kind of wing it, I think, too. And boy, it depends what you're doing, I suppose. But yeah, and I didn't mean to cut you guys off either. Did you want to add anything on that last question, or no?
That was a hard question.
Well, pretty
A hard
consistently,
question, yeah.
consistently this summer, it's just been us five pretty much, and so
Okay.
we haven't really had to do a whole lot of practicing because we've kind of just been doing the same stuff.
Yeah, and I suppose it's a different experience each time, depending where you're at too. As far as we lead worship too on a different team, and the way I like to describe it is it's not really like a performance. Like there's performances you go and do with other type of music. It's a different feel to it, and it sometimes will depend on kind of what's happening in the space that you're in too. Kind of what the experience ends up being. Have you had that? I was curious. I didn't know you'd played at Rushford Days, and like the main music tent you're talking. It wasn't like a church tent, or like it was.
It was the fest tent. It was
The
earlier
fest
in the
tent.
day. We weren't playing
Interesting.
like late at night when they're serving.
I was gonna say that would have been an interesting experience.
I mean,
Like,
we did
tell me
bartend.
about this. Like,
We the RLC youth committee members, so the adults actually bartended last night for a fundraiser, or last year for a fundraiser.
got it.
This year we played in the afternoon. It was going to be a talent show, but it was we didn't get enough people that were really ready for something new like that. So we ended up just jamming out, doing some church songs, doing some non-church songs as well, because the boys play a lot of songs outside of praise team, and Sadie and I kind of jumped in, and we play for different venues and we change based on what members we have. Picking the right songs for the right people who are playing and singing, and it's just kind of a rotating set.
It's really interesting, praise music. Like it can speak to people in ways that a sermon can't, or preaching to them, or telling them to read their Bible. I think some people, music it speaks to a deeper place in them, that words can't, or arguments can't, And so it's really an honor, honestly, to be a part of a worship team. This is my feeling on it, because there are people in that room that your praise may have changed their day, or the direction their life was going sometimes. Or some people come in there, they don't even know if God's real, And I think it's interesting how God can inhabit our praises, and it says that's very biblical. And do things in that moment that we don't even know is happening, And so it's interesting when you've been in church. I guarantee there's been a time that's happened. I mean, and I don't know, has anyone given you feedback like that? Like, wow, that was an awesome thing that I just experienced, or whatever. Because I guarantee it's happened in church, and it's interesting too. Like, depending where you're at, or the group you're in front of them, some of them would be like, I can't let anyone know that I just experienced that. Like that just happened, or I just felt this way or whatever. But so it is interesting, you know, when you're in the midst of singing and stuff like that, how these things can happen, you know, and you might not even know, you know. And I've literally had people come up to me years later and they're like, I remember that time that you sang at this one place, you know, and here's what happened, you know, years later, when they finally worked up the courage to be like, okay, this isn't crazy that this just happened, that God just did this thing, and I'm in a different place now where I can actually talk about this or something, you know. So I want that to be an encouragement, because I tell you what, when I was upstairs, listening to this, and the others can probably attest to this too, you can tell that the music is in you, you know, like they're like almost like God put this in you before you were born, you know. And obviously you've got some parents that help, you know, obviously, but it's almost like breathing, you can tell, like it's something like that, you know. Or like riding a bike, like you hop on that bike and it's easy to go without thinking, you know, or something like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing when God does that, you know, because man, that can take you a lot of places. But I'm kind of curious to as far as music goes. I mean, so I know the three of you especially, you've done a lot of other performing with the Dar Family Band, right? And well, other things too, I guess. But so is there a big difference that you can tell between the different venues, like when you're playing that type of music versus this type of music? Is there a big difference, or?
The songs are definitely a lot different.
Yeah.
The way you play them, you know, there's a lot more like chords and I guess the chord variations and stuff that are kind of fun to play with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you don't get in like a 3-chord rock song or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some really difficult worship songs.
There are some really difficult worship songs. I agree. Yeah. And so are you still planning to continue any music? I mean, you'll be doing the electrical engineering thing, I know. Are you gonna keep playing with the family band or anything like that?
Yeah, so we're booking already for next summer, and then as far as between them, it's just gonna kind of feel school out a little bit. And see how it goes.
Yes. Play it by ear. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. I should let you maybe give some information too about like the church, the band. Do you have anything you'd like people at home to know about your group before we switch over to the next group here? The mission of brotherly love. Yes.
We'll have some returning guests.
We have some returning guests here, yes. And others will be leaving us, I know, but do you have any parting things you'd like them to know, or other experiences or encouragement?
No, we're really thankful to be here. We've had a lot of amazing opportunities to play in a bunch of different venues, and just because some of us are leaving doesn't mean that this group will stop continuing to spend time to praise the Lord. But yeah, it's an incredibly special thing, and anyone should try to replicate this at their church as they can, because it didn't become this overnight. It took like a decade to get here. But yeah, we're thankful to be here, and you can check us out at RLC Youth. And if you see us playing at Rushford Lutheran Church or anywhere around here.
Excellent. Anyone have anything else they want to add? No? You know, one thing before we do switch over, if there are people at home that, you know, they're looking to maybe start something like this at their church, or they have something like this at their church, or they want to be a part of this, you know, how do you have any like advice for them? Like how do you go about doing something like this? You just made a very good point. Like, we basically built this thing, it sounds like, here over the last 10 or 12 years, right? So that's kind of an interesting experience you've got, or interesting perspective that people might not know about. But do you have any thoughts on that?
I'd say start simple, get out of your comfort zone, and realize that growth doesn't happen overnight. It grows slowly. Like sometimes you don't realize how like much you've done, and then we go back and watch something from a few years ago, and it's like, oh wow, we're a completely different group, even though we're the same people.
I remember being about, I think, 8 years old when we were at a church service, and then Kristen Birdie started. She like came up and spoke like in the middle or whatever, and she just talked about this praise team where we get to play instruments if we played them. And I looked to Dad, and I was like, I play the guitar.
He was like,
That's
play
awesome.
play was a strong word, but
I play with a guitar.
but that was my interest. It was like oh, holy cow.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just giving the opportunity, you know. I think there are people willing and able and young people too. An 8-year-old, I mean, that's interesting. That I would love to see more of that, honestly, like getting really young kids involved too. So
I would just say it's more than a band. We have fun together, and I would say almost all the friends I have right now was because I joined this praise team.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. So it does kind of put you on an interesting path sometimes. They're got to some interesting things and make some interesting connections, and we'll be hearing more from you obviously about that too. But well, I certainly appreciate that everyone came. That was an awesome experience upstairs. Certainly give them some love online too. We posted that on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page, so you can go and watch it. And
subscribe.
like and subscribe and all that
Share.
stuff. Let people know about it.
Ring the
Share.
bell. I don't know. That's a thing.
It's on YouTube.
Huh?
That's on YouTube.
Ring the bell.
Yeah, on YouTube.
So
Do all the
you all
things.
know what that means. I have no idea.
So
So
go home and do it.
yeah, so go home and do it. Yeah. Anyways, so thanks for joining us, and obviously.
Wait, Kristen,
oh.
would
You
you
guys mentioned the members that aren't here tonight too.
Oh, there are some other members we want to
to
give them a shout out to in case they're watching or
Yeah.
other people.
They have volleyball and.
So we have volleyball right now, and that kind of takes away a lot of our other
Yes,
singers. So we
it does.
have another one, Haley, and then
Okay.
Maddie,
Mhm.
and Natalie sometimes.
Mhm.
But it's not just me. There's
And
other
Archer
ones.
too.
Archer's our other guitarist.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we are kind of needing a piano player, but kind of not. I don't know.
Okay.
It's in
So
between.
if you're in the Rushford area and you play piano and you're a youth, you're hired.
Yep, you're hired.
Alana, please come.
So, yes. We need piano players. Well, awesome. Shout out to all those other members too. We'll be seeing you here probably at some point too. So, well, thanks for joining us. We're gonna swap out people. And who's next? Come on down.
Do you want me to end the stream or do you want me to keep going?
We'll just keep on going. We'll swap out people here.
Okay. So
Who's next? Who's next? Come on
keep
in.
that live stream
You want to
going.
get the people from the green room here? So we have a very immaculate green room here. It's just full of caviar and lobster and stuff like that. And I'm kidding. They're in the other room here. You can come on in if you want. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. We have Dondi. So the next group that's going to be coming in, just to give a little lead in here, includes some youth who just got back from Philadelphia and some other places along the way too. Yeah, you can come right in, come right in. We actually discussed this trip on one of our previous episodes, and we want to hear about that trip now that they've returned, because it sounds like it was an awesome experience. So we have a few of the youth here, and we actually have, I think 2 other people that'll be joining us too. Do we have Dondi? Come on down. Hey, here he is. We have one of the leaders here, and we've got Elijah. Yeah, wherever you'd like to go over here. Jump on in. Jump on in. So, yeah, and we've got one more. Jump in. Well, welcome back from the big trip, huh? And we can have her jump in at some point here too. Obviously, Kristen's off the screen here. You've seen her on some of our episodes too.
Wait,
She is
isn't
here.
Kristen gonna go in?
I gotta change my shirt.
Oh,
She's got to
okay.
change her shirt.
And you've got to make a phone call so that we aren't stuck here waiting.
Yeah.
I gotta order food, I guess.
Okay,
should go do that.
she's gonna order food. She'll jump in though.
I can do that.
But I'm glad we can fit everyone in here and do
Yeah.
our set here. We kind of rearranged. Sorry that you're on the folding chairs and I got the nice chair, I guess, here. But
Well, we had
and-
to squeeze you in.
Yeah,
So.
well, I heard this was an awesome trip, right? It sounded like you did a ton of stuff and it was nonstop basically the whole time. As you may recall, it wasn't just the Rushford Lutheran Church. This was actually a number of churches from where the Rushford area, I guess, is that
Yeah.
Rushford and some surrounding areas.
some surrounding ones. So, and it was 28 youth or something like that. Is that what it ended up being? 20?
And 35 people
35
total.
people total. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I've seen pictures of the bus you took. That was a big old bus. I mean, that was awesome. So I want to hear all about this because we had people at home that were kind of prepped to hear about this, like, oh, this is going to happen, you know, and here's the plan. And so how did it go down? Tell me a little bit about it. What happened? Who wants to go? You can take turns, I guess, too. Go on.
Well, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
It was, I'll say it was my first time, so it's unexpected what was going to happen, how it was going to occur. Thank you guys for coming down, because you guys did kind of prep us on a few of those things of what to expect.
I was really honored to be a part of whatever we could do with that. And our kids actually went too. Our kids
Yes.
went too.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but anyways, yeah.
But it was a great experience. You know, I've never been on one, so I didn't know exactly what to expect. And I think I wasn't sure to expect, but I think it was 5 of us, 7, I guess,
7 adult
chaperones-ish.
chaperones, fine.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
you know, I have 5 kids myself, but
Yeah.
28, I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
It's an adventure, yeah.
That it definitely is, but you know, I asked these two actually that drove here with me on the way down if, because you know, kids talk to each other. Was there anybody that had anything really bad to say about the trip? And they said no. So you know, it seemed like everybody was willing to jump in and do the work, even if they didn't want to sweat or the heat, but they were willing to jump in and do it. So
I heard it was really
It's
hot.
hot in Philadelphia too.
There was a heat advisory the entire time we were there. Yeah.
only in the men's room.
Okay.
We had AC.
We have this still got the fun room though.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So how did it start? So you left very early in the morning. It sounded like. What was it like?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay, I guess that's not as bad as it
Well,
could
we had to
That's
be there at
pretty-
4:30, and then we
That's-
left at 5:30.
That's what it was.
We had to be there at 4:30.
That's why you were the last one there.
And you got on the bus and basically drove. It sounds like
Yes.
for a while, huh? Or
It's a
for how long? Like a
Wasn't it 12 hours? It was 12 hours driving, but we stopped a few times, so
okay.
probably ended up being about 14 hours.
That was to get to West Virginia,
We
and then we
went
spent the
West
next
Virginia.
day getting to Philly. So we had to break it up over 2 days on the way there and back.
So where did you stay in West Virginia when you got there?
So a few years ago, Annika and I went on another mission trip, and we went to Wheeling, West Virginia at
Okay.
Trinity.
Lutheran Church, and that's where we stayed the whole week. So we stayed there again that night,
Yeah.
and we led that church service the next morning,
Okay.
and then we headed for Philly after that.
Okay. Did you really get to look around or do anything outside of the church when you were there, or?
Well, not the first time we were there, but then we came back a
Back.
few days later,
Okay,
and we did
yeah.
get to do more things.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious. How about? Well, I'd love to hear your impression too. I mean, what was that area like? I mean, was it kind of impoverished there, or a rough area, or what did it look like? It sounds like you maybe have some thoughts on it.
You guys start with West Virginia.
Yeah, just with West Virginia, what was that like? Do you remember?
So some of the areas were like nice, look like how you expected. Then some other parts, like the buildings, looked run down, and like the outside just looked like it needed refurbishing.
Okay, so a little bit poorer area it sounded like, and was it a larger city, or was it a smaller city, or?
It's decent.
Okay.
I guess coming from small towns.
Yeah, it's
decent
bigger
size.
than these towns around
Yeah.
here, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's just me. I like the small place.
Yeah.
It's probably like Winona-ish size, maybe a little bigger than that. So like, you know,
Okay.
small city, big town, you know.
And so the first night you stayed there, and then you led a worship service, you said? So that was kind of the first like activity you can say that you did on the trip.
Yeah.
What was that like? What did that mean? Like you led a service. What's that mean?
Well, like, so I spent a lot of time with your daughter on the trip, and we,
She's awesome.
yeah, you know, we were 2 of the 5 college chaperones that went there, and we like had practiced a few songs. She played piano, I played guitar, and sometimes I would play the piano, and we had this group of young singers that like Sadie was a part of. Bella, you kind of became part of it. You were kind of there, you know, like, and we
Is she
had.
going to be one of the new members?
You know, that'd be really cool.
Elijah was on it.
Elijah.
We had a bunch of singers. We had a bunch of
Good.
singers, and you know, we came in with a couple songs, and we would teach them the congregation, and they had their regular service still done by their pastor
Oh.
who was there, but
You played a part of the service.
yes, we led the worship of the service.
And did they know that you were coming through on a mission trip, basically?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
so interesting. So, what was your impression of the church service? Was it a lot different from your church services, or was it kind of similar? Or, I mean,
Very different.
very different. Okay, interesting.
It's probably important to say that like Sadie and I are from Rushford Lutheran Church, so it was
Sure.
pretty similar.
It was
to
similar,
ours.
Okay,
yeah.
so
But
it
all
was
three
like
of them are from DLC.
Okay, okay.
So a little
So-
different there.
Even RLC is different, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's interesting. I mean, so the kids got kind of that experience of seeing
Yeah.
some different how they do church at other places. I mean, was that a little eye opening? Like it was okay. This is a little different, but kind of the same, you know? Or
You know, a lot of the group I was with, which was the builders, and shout out to the builders.
yeah, the buildings.
We were tasked with greeting the people, and they really just greeted and didn't really, think much of a difference. You know,
Yeah.
oh, hey, this is not the Lutheran church I'm used to. Like you said, it's the five different churches,
Yeah.
maybe, but
10.
10?
10.
My bad.
Yeah.
I was halfway there.
Wow.
Where'd you come from? Can we do a special effect somehow after the fact where she just goes,
No. Just know I am at
I'll scoot over here.
the absolute
You're good, you're good.
stretching of set. I had to
Yes.
move some
The set
things.
magically got bigger. Look at that.
Magically,
It's a
Tara was
miracle.
crawling on the ground, moving things.
By the way, we just added a person here. You may recognize her, Kristen Birdie. She was one of the organizers and chaperones, and boy, name all the roles, I guess. But,
RLC director, praise team.
yeah, director of the praise team who was just with us, obviously, and so obviously you can give your 2 cents on things too when I'm asking questions. Everyone here, so I want to work through this a little bit chronologically. So people at home, like if they're thinking, okay, what does a mission trip look like? You know, if I'm interested in it, or if my kids are interested in it, what does it look like? I kind of want them to know, well, here's what it looked like, this trip and the experience. So the first night, we're kind of to the first night. The next day, you left then, and where did you go after being at that church? I don't know who wants to go.
Which church?
So
that was
After we
Virginia,
left
what we just
Virginia.
did.
yeah,
We went to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay, so that was a little bit of a change, I'd say. So you were in this, Wheeling, West Virginia, and all of a sudden you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Was it a little bit of culture shock, or was
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, tell me your thoughts on that. I'd love to hear from each of you on that. Like, what was something that was different or shocking or similar?
I mean, you drive into the city, and we kind of went through a couple different neighborhoods, and you would see one neighborhood where there's just a bunch of abandoned used cars, and like every single
Just in
window,
the streets?
like
or-
in the streets, like on the side of the road, like just these lots that were just covered in used cars that were either abandoned or being resold, like just covered. And like, the windows would be barred, the doors would be barred, everything would be gated. You see homeless people like in the middle of the streets. Sometimes they're awake, sometimes they're not, and it's just like, covering the streets. And it is known for being, it's like has a really bad fentanyl problem right now too, and you can kind of see the culture, like you can see certain areas. And then you drive a little, like just a few more blocks, and you're in beautiful ornate houses that are like very classic, like beautiful brick, like no gates, not the same, like very clean houses. And you would just go from one thing to the next over a course of like maybe 5 blocks, and you'd be like, oh, we're in a whole different world now. And we would just kind of drive between different areas, and getting to experience the different culture was.
And do you kind of agree with that? What do you think, Sadie?
I thought it was so funny. They parked on the sidewalks. I thought that
And the
was
police
funny.
didn't care, or?
Well, they don't have places to park on the side of the road, so
There's
they have to
hardly
park
any
on the
room.
sidewalks.
I mean, there's
Wow.
space, but it'll
Yeah.
fit a bicycle.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Narrow old
And it was-
street.
They're
Yeah.
old streets, yeah, made for horse and buggy or something like
Yeah.
that, or?
Yeah, shout out to the bus drivers.
Yeah, the bus
Bobby
drivers.
Richard.
Close to the front and nice in those turns. I was like, oh, he's gonna hit
He
there.
parallel
no
parked that
way.
bus.
He parallel parked the
No.
bus.
Yeah, it was a
Oh.
huge bus.
Man, I hope he's watching, yeah, that is impressive, mad props. What about you, Bella? You think, was there anything that you're like, yeah, this is one thing that really sticks out to me when I was in Philadelphia the
I was
first time?
kind of confused on why people were driving their scooters in the middle of the road.
They would just like walk in between
Like
cars,
motorized scooters
or
or
just
something?
walk
or
like They were
Just
just walking
randomly
between
in the
cars.
road?
They're
Yes.
just in the road as we're driving.
Oh.
It's like, what are you doing? You're gonna get hit.
Oh my goodness. So no enforcement of the street or the, I don't know what they call it, jaywalking laws or.
There's
No.
no laws.
There's
No
just no
laws.
laws, it's like the
Free for all
Wild
U-turns all the
East or
time.
something.
Right.
Yeah, what do you think, Elijah? What was it like?
It was definitely different.
Yeah.
I felt like the place around the church was fine. I'd say it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was like how you'd usually expect to see something like a neighborhood.
In a big city or
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. But just a few blocks away, it'd be kind of what you were describing is kind of it. It sounds like what a mix of stuff. So you stayed at another church then?
Yes.
That night then? So you got to Philadelphia, you're like driving through these neighborhoods going like, whoa, like this is a little different. And then you get to the church. What was the church like?
It was awesome.
The church was awesome?
It was
Okay.
awesome.
What church was that?
Well, it was awesome for us girls, not
St.
St.
James.
Okay.
Well, no, it was
St. James
it was,
Lutheran, okay.
don't get me wrong. It was a little warm, but it was.
It was really warm.
That's just me. It was. Jason had no problem sleeping in the heat. Night or day.
Night or day.
Jason slept all the time.
He wasn't feeling
That's my brother, and he has been on the power source before.
Yeah, Jason
A couple
Rasmussen.
times.
Can look him up. He's been a guest here. Yeah.
But the church itself was huge. It was almost like a maze. It took a lot. I think by the first night I knew where to go,
Interesting.
which is really weird. There's like 4 or 5 doors to get you to the basement.
The doors.
And
Okay.
all kinds of doors that lead outside.
Interesting.
The men got to sleep in. I'm assuming it was their old theater or something.
Yeah, it was their old sanctuary
Sanctuary.
converted into their youth room.
Yeah.
Which of course the men get in the youth room. But
Yeah.
we had all the pool tables, so we had all the toys in our room.
It was really fun because we did plays in there too.
Wasn't there a stage there? So we had a few
Uh,
plays.
Elijah needs to tell about that.
Yes.
Oh, we'll get
Maybe keep the details.
I
I
was
was
one of the
main
main characters.
characters.
we'll get to that later, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But
made
those
very
are-
creative plays to pass the time in between activities. It sounds
I
like.
saw
And
some
had some
video. They were
actors here.
very imaginative and
Very
creative.
It was like
Imaginative
maybe
plays,
almost
yeah.
an almost 30-minute play within a few hours that we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what did you do as part of the mission trip there? So that's where you stayed.
Right.
Kind of we kind of know where you were at then, and what did you do there as part of the mission trip then?
Can I
We
give a little preface maybe
Yeah, go ahead.
on this here?
Jump in.
So the mission trip we were hosted by St. James Lutheran Church. Pastor Paul Andel is the pastor at that church. It's a 100-year-old congregation that used to be the largest Lutheran church in Philadelphia, but over the most recent years, COVID included in there, they had experienced quite a decline in attendance and population. So they're in an upswing, in a resurgence right now, and part of what they are doing to bring their church back to life is hosting mission groups such as us. He said that way it's more inexpensive for groups to come in because they hosted us at a fraction of the cost of other organizations would, and designed the entire trip for us. So they were our very gracious hosts. So they got to all kind of come around and circle around us, and that brought their congregation together in hospitality and service. It also allowed the congregation to connect with organizations and other congregations in their community. So Pastor Paul connected us to a number of local ministries and local congregations. And like they mentioned, we were very close to some pretty impoverished neighborhoods. There's lots of homelessness. Like 2 neighborhoods down from where we were staying would be Kensington, which is the nation's opioid capital currently.
Wow.
And some of the policies and things that they're doing to try to change that push people into Frankfurt, which is the neighborhood where we did a lot of service. So we got to experience a lot of things firsthand. Now, part of Pastor Paul's goals for this trip was not only to provide our youth with a mission experience and serve their congregation while doing so, but also to show us the culture of Philadelphia, being that we're a bunch of small town Minnesotans, to show us another culture, immerse us into it, so that we got to meet the people. And I think for most of our students, that was the most impactful part, was the people that we met. So that was just a little preface there.
I think that's excellent, and jump in any time. Absolutely. So I'm curious. So with that said, I mean, it sounds like you met some really awesome people there. I mean,
For sure.
so do any of the people jump out that you'd want to talk about at all, or Joe? Who's Joe?
I mean, I got to serve in, there was one place where only 4 of us served. We were there with your son Elias, and he was the only young man with us in a very sketchy part of town. And we ended up meeting a homeless gentleman named Joe, and he went out and he got us waters, and he was talking to us. And he was just talking about life on the street, and we met a lot of homeless people, and Mark was also our guide in that area who was helping directly to like get people off the streets or get them into programming. And Mark took us around the streets of Frankfurt into some of the more underserved neighborhoods, and it's clear that he grew up there and knew everyone, and we got to meet a lot of people that are like born and bred in Philly and like live their day to day and live out that life, and we got to see like, you know, the humanity of people who are struggling and not just their struggle, which was really wonderful to get to experience. But yeah.
I was with Annika on that group, so then the others were in different groups and they could speak to that. But we went and served with the Frankfurt Community Development. So we were going to be doing trash pickup outside in the 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
So we got a really lucky job, and our driver took us there, and I had asked Pastor, I said, do we need a man with us? Like, knowing where the neighborhood was that we were going. And he said, he thought our driver was staying with us, but he in fact did not. So we got out, and we were like, hello. But yes, the community development where there's a lot of homeless in that neighborhood. So we got to, and then Mark, who is the leader, he also had worked at the Boys and Girls Club. He was a veteran and knew everyone. It was clear that he knew everyone on the streets, and they all had a great respect for him and the work that he did. But he said, I'm going to introduce you to some of the local vagrants, is what he called them. And so they're friends. And Joe, who we mentioned, was someone who'd been living on the streets of Philly for several years after he had been divorced, and he used his skills and the trades that he was able to do to make connections and kind of make a living on the street. So he knew all the shop owners and could help them with maintenance projects and things like that. There's tons of resources, as Joe pointed out. He said you cannot go hungry on the streets of Philadelphia because there's lots of programs to help people. And so we were lucky as a group to be part of some of these programs. So that was our service project.
Interesting. Okay. So there was a different group then too that did something different. Sounds like, well, who wants to go first? Sadie, sounds like, were you in the same group as Bella, or different ones?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I went to an old Zion church. It was led by a very elderly congregation, and so they had us do some maintenance stuff, like clean out their whole entire basement.
Oh, Jonas was with that.
Jonas was with us. Yep, that is right.
I heard all about that.
Jonas is a cool kid, but the basement, it wasn't actually a basement, it was like dirt.
Oh my, so like an unfinished
like a
basement?
Right, so it's like you're under a house, kind of.
Wow, okay.
And there was like things on the walls, like drawings and stuff, because that's where their Sunday school used to be. And I thought that was really crazy, because it was like kind of creepy down there. Yeah, but it was so hot, but it was really worth it to just be able to do that for them.
And you got it all cleaned out?
We
then?
did.
Wow, were they planning to like use it or renovate it or something?
I think they were just trying to get rid of some junk that they had. And Elijah actually painted their front door.
Oh really? Okay.
Yep.
Like the front door to the church?
Yes.
Or what? Oh, interesting. Okay. What color was it? Did you get to choose the color? Or?
I painted some, like, it was supposed. Okay, there were some parts that needed to be repainted, and it was mainly just black. There was mainly just some black pieces that needed to be repainted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it did end up like pink or something like that.
It did end up all black all over the door and the front steps.
Oh no!
Not all over the door.
Elijah did scrub it, he did clean it, but
that
was kind of funny.
They needed a drop cloth or something.
Okay.
Yeah. What'd you end up doing, Sean?
I painted a gate.
Okay.
For a historical society.
Wow.
Yeah, and a historical thing. We went in the basement to go check it out, and it was kind of cool.
Okay. And
So the gate was for the historical society, you said? Like, so was that at a different location, or?
It was the Frankfurt, right? Frankfurt Historical Society. When we were actually handing out assignments per se, they had mentioned whoever signs up for that group would get a tour and this and that. So I kind of jumped at it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I never got the tour. The kids did. I don't know where I was when I messed up on the tour.
They're still working out.
And the girls did. But they had to paint what is it, wrought iron fence. They had to make sure it was sanded down and all this stuff. So the girls, I think it was Siri,
Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, right?
There's
We're just painting all the front. No, just simple stuff. Yeah. And then I got stuck with the big boys. So we were all pulling weeds, getting an area ready for them to. I believe we got a newsletter the other day say what they were going to use it for. I thought it was going to be like. I thought they were going to make like a fountain on the outside to make it more presentable.
Yeah.
But we had weeds, so we had to move. We had to lay down big timber things, like make steps basically out of the dirt, so they can plant. They can put a fountain. I think they said they were going to do. So we got to do that stuff on the outside. It was
so really being hands and feet. It sounds like you're. I mean,
yeah, I didn't think I was going to.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, and it's that simple sometimes. I think people think that this is going to be some really, difficult thing, and it can be something simple like a service project to let people know you care. And it is interesting. It brings a transformative impact wherever you do something like that. It, I think, brings hope or a different perspective to people, a renewal, I guess you could say. At least that's my opinion. Is that kind of the...
Yeah, as Dondi mentioned, we got a letter, and we've got letters from pretty much all the places where we served, and in both Old Zion and the Historical Society, those were our Monday projects. Our Monday projects were all the kind of hands-on physical labor sorts of things, and on our other service day it was more people-oriented, but there was so much gratitude for a congregation that has very few members and they're all elderly. They're not able to do the things that our students were able to come in and do. And at the Historical Society too, the letter said, usually people come to us and they are asking for our help with their genealogy or things like that, or their research. And here, this group came to help us. And they were able to do things that we weren't able to do, painting our very needy fence and getting that area ready where they're going to put some new historical display or whatever it was that they were going to do out there. So yes, just knowing that there's people out there that care about them and value the things that they do and are willing to be the hands and feet.
Interesting, and you got to see a couple different churches then. Very different churches, it sounds like a night and day difference there between them. So Zion Church was a much smaller congregation.
It was a beautiful church. We also cleaned the sanctuary for them, like swept and vacuumed and dusted. Yeah. And it was a beautiful, huge church. And they were saying that they only had like 12 people that came to church every week because they live stream, and apparently more people watch online. But it was bigger than our church, and we have a much bigger congregation than that. So I thought that was kind of
interesting.
Crazy.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Very old, historic neighborhoods that we were in. Lots of old, beautiful architectural structures.
Man, oh man, that's awesome. So it sounds like basically everything you were doing had an immediate impact wherever you were doing it, and yeah, it was just basic things.
Only day one.
Yeah, that was day one. Okay, we better keep moving along here. What happened after that then? If that was just day one, I mean, what happened next then?
Skip to Wednesday.
Yeah.
Let's
skip to Wednesday.
Tuesday was the fun
Tuesday
day.
was fun day.
Fun day.
It was
okay.
awesome.
We could come back to that, but we could skip to Wednesday.
It was a hard day.
Yeah.
It actually was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yes.
Well, like she said, that was more of Monday was more like laborious work, if you will. Wednesday was a little more, I want to say, rewarding to see. Some of us got to, I think on Monday some of us got to prepare the meals, and then Wednesday basically hand out the meals for the homeless, the needy.
This was still in Philadelphia?
Yes,
Okay,
this
yeah,
day was still in
same place,
Philadelphia.
yeah. Yep.
I think it was just her and you were there too?
It It was all.
Elisha was the only one
Yeah.
at St. Matthew's, I think.
St. Mark's.
St. Mark's.
So ours was with, maybe you can, I don't know.
Yeah, we were at a church kind of, it was in a more like troubled area of Philly, like a lot of underprivileged youth, definitely like a lot of kids who maybe don't get food when school's not in session and like meals are provided at school in the summertime. They might not have parents who have like air conditioning, electricity, they might not have food. And so there's a local church that provides meals for these kids, and sometimes parents come with them. And there's like some state-funded meals as well that are there, and sometimes they get food donated to them from convenience stores and from like Walmart. They'll get like large bulk items, and yeah, a lot. And for us, the day that we were there, it was not as busy as maybe it had been other days, but we were still able to like go on down there and serve some kids some food, and we also ended up playing some games with them afterwards.
Okay.
So it was pretty full. It was pretty full, but it was also good.
So some of the youth did that, and
Yes.
some did other things too. Or?
Yes.
And then some went to a food pantry,
Oh, okay.
I think, and they served, and then they came back to where we were, and then they came and like did the games with the kids and stuff.
Those were the
Okay.
people that went to Tabor. They went to go clean a church.
Yep, that place.
But then the other half of our group, I think the larger portion of our group was over at St. Mark's.
Yeah, so Elijah and I went to St. Mark's, another old and beautiful congregation. I'll give a little info about it, and then you can share about what you thought. So when we arrived there, we heard about all the ministries they have within this congregation, which is in downtown Frankfurt. They have a shower and laundry ministry for homeless. Which, how cool is that? I mean, how needed. So people can come and take showers and do their laundry there. They also have a clothing ministry where donated clothing, people can come in, I think it's 2 days a week. They can come in and select X number of items. And it was interesting to watch because we were there on a day when that was happening, and the workers in there, both of whom were in recovery, so that's how everybody's got a story of how they ended up in these places. But like there was a woman who came in and she was getting scolded, and the lady then later told me, well, she was taking things so she could resell them. She doesn't have kids. She was taking the kids' clothes so she could resell them. So you have to kind of police it so that the people that actually need it get it. So it was really interesting to be a fly on the wall to see all of this. They also have a food pantry on site. Meanwhile, their church, and all of this is done by volunteer labor, including the ministry. The woman who was running all of these ministries that I just mentioned also was like their lay leader. So she was they don't have any paid staff, they don't have a paid priest, they have a tiny congregation that they serve in this huge, beautiful facility. And so she would do the Sunday services as well. So she did everything, which is a far cry from, again, our beautiful, blessed corner of southeast Minnesota here, where, you know, we're fortunate to have staff at our churches that can, but, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do you do all of this? And she said, by the Holy Spirit. She said joyfully, and she welcomed us in, you know?
That's awesome.
Very beautiful, and we got to do some really fulfilling work there that I can come back to, but let's let Elijah go.
I did like the food pantry part, like we restocked it and like organized it.
Yeah.
It hasn't been organized in a while. There's food that like we took them off the shelves. We like did it. Any expired stuff or dented stuff, we just like, I don't know what we did with it. We just put it in boxes, right?
I have no idea.
Sorted it out, it sounds like, yeah, sorted it. Yep. Wow, and yeah, that can take a while to do too if they've got a big food pantry, so.
Is that, you did some clothing stuff too, or was that not?
No, I didn't do any clothing stuff, but I did mop a room.
Some of our group sorted through clothing. There were bags and bags of clothing, and one of the gals working there said she had actually dreamed about the clothing because she knew how much they had and how long it was going to take them to sort through it.
So that was really a godsend that you showed up to help with that.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, she's like, I was dreaming about this pile. But I think one of the coolest thing was we got served lunch to the homeless community. that came in there, and our students, I am so amazed by our students. Like, so many of them just sat down and had lunch with these folks and interacted, and they just loved getting to know people, whatever their circumstances, whatever they looked like on the outside. The kids wanted to talk to them. One of the most rewarding conversations we had was with a woman who volunteers there. Now she's not the boss, but the facilitator lady, she said, oh, when she comes, she'll talk to you. And so she sat down and she gave us her testimony, which was extremely powerful. It was this woman, and she had grown up in addiction, doing things such as going down and getting drugs for her dad at the park when she was a child.
Wow.
And then, she grew up in that, and her daughter grew up in that, and her daughter ended up on the streets. Now, the woman said, I didn't realize I had a problem. I wasn't doing anything big. I wasn't doing big deal stuff. I was just doing coke and stuff. So coke and pot and drinking, things like that. So she didn't think she had any problems. And her daughter ended up on the streets with, the fentanyl and all of that going on. And so then she got clean and had a baby, and then she ended up back on the streets, and she overdosed and died when her baby was 6 months old.
Wow.
And long story short, that served as a wake-up call to Grandma, who then got completely straight, knew that it was Jesus who had saved her and delivered her from the life that she had been living. And she spends all of her time serving, like she serves at St. Mark's in the pantry, and then after she does that, she goes every day by herself sometimes down into Kensington on the streets and gives water and food to the people. I mean, they call Kensington like zombie town because of the people, and we saw some, but not much. People, like, you can't even tell if they're alive, they're one of the most stark images right as we were pulling into Philly. There was a bus stop, and there was a bench, and there were two people on the bench. On one end of the bench was the cutest little girl. She was like 8 years old, and she like had a lollipop and a bun in her hair, and she was the cutest little thing. And on the other side of the bench was a woman who was clearly completely comatose on drugs. And that was just a stark portrait of some of the challenges the community is facing.
Wow. Man, oh man. That would be very impactful to see that. Wow. So you were in the same group as him, it sounds like, and then Bella, what did you end up doing on that day? I can't remember if I asked you or not. I was gonna say, was there some other service project?
She was with us.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
No, what is it called?
So I mean, is this kind of what everyone their thinking is on it too? Is there were a lot of people that you really had a lot of personal experiences with that day? It sounds like, and I mean a lot of eye-opening stuff. And did you see a lot of the kind of what she said, the zombie town stuff? I mean that's.
We didn't see a ton of crazy things.
Okay.
It was mostly just children.
Okay.
On that day, yeah. But then when you're not in that place and you're out in the streets, then you see more of that.
Huh. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So that was what that day was then, was a lot more outreach and stuff like that, it sounds like, which, wow, that's quite a thing too. So what happened after that then? Because this is only like the midway point, it sounds like, of the trip, right? I mean, basically.
Those were our two big service days in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Thursday we made our way back to Wheeling, and we had several like service projects that we had done before we left, like doing different drives. So we had like a like toiletry drive for a women's prison that we would drop off on our way home, as well as we had like a towel and blanket drive to return back to Moundsville, which is right next to West Virginia. A school supplies drive that was outside of Wheeling, West Virginia, at Youth Social Services Systems, YSS.
Yeah.
And we were able to, on our way home, bless some of the places that we had been on the way with things such as school supplies, toiletries, blankets, towels, and various other things that we had fundraised ahead of time and brought with us. So it was really lovely to bless people on our way home as we went, and we also got to spend time like having a s'mores night with some people in Wheeling, West Virginia, before we ended up going to the Ark on Friday.
the church we stayed at was at in Philadelphia. That was that called again?
St. James.
Yes, we did projects around their church too to kind of thank them for like hosting us.
Yeah.
And a couple girls, I wasn't in this group. I don't think any of us were, but they weeded this part of the church. And this woman, she was so grateful. She was like crying and she was just thanking them. They were just so grateful because they can't do that. And it was
Wow.
really neat.
A lot of the congregation there, St. James, I believe, is a little older, so they can't get along or can't get along, but they can't reach places throughout there, and I think these girls were climbing on walls and reaching places she wasn't able to, so that's why she was grateful. And Pastor Paul had the boys moving a bunch of rocks from the front of the building, because if you picture it, the outside of the church itself was like rocks, plastered, placed up against it. So some of them have fallen over time and just fell around the church. So he asked the boys to help him move it aside so that when they redo something, I think this summer, or I think he said this later this summer, they were going to use those rocks for some other project, but just to get them out of the way for now.
Wow, yeah, just some simple things that show you care. I mean, that's kind of it. It can be that simple. So a lot of outreach service projects, interacting with people, helping people that needed it, obviously, that were overwhelmed, volunteers. A lot of stuff going on there, my goodness. And in between you had some off days where you did some fun things too. And obviously you went to the ARC experience. I don't know if you've heard of this. It's basically a replica that was built of the ARC, and it's an interactive experience. You can go through it, it sounds like. And so was it huge? It was as big as people have said. I'm like trying to picture this in my head. So
it was so cool.
Yeah, so it was fun to walk through, it sounds like. And I know I got feedback from my kids too, and it is interesting because they take a certain approach with the story, I know, and other people in certain denominations might take a little bit different tack, but the beautiful thing of it is it's a story everyone can relate to, and it's a very important part of our biblical journey too, obviously. So
it's giant.
And it's huge. I think architecturally, it gives you pause and you go, how did they build this?
And how did they build this without modern tools?
Right, without modern tools. That's the other interesting thing. So
there's a zoo. There was a zoo.
There's actually a zoo
Yeah,
there.
a zoo.
I did not hear that part. Okay, so
I didn't hear about that.
is the zoo inside of the
It was
RC?
just outside.
Okay.
Not everybody got a chance to go to the zoo.
Yeah.
Syria and I
Oh,
went to the
interesting.
zoo, so-
Okay.
I went to the zoo.
Interesting.
I wanted to
With-
go to the zoo,
But
but I was busy wearing a necklace.
So it's a big place apparently. A lot of time to go through it. What was your takeaway from the ARC experience? I'm kind of curious.
I was just shocked how they were able to build that.
Yeah, because it's my understanding they basically use the biblical dimensions as
Right.
they've outlined from the Bible.
Did they build it the same way too, or did they?
They tried to make it pretty much exactly how it was.
Yeah, but I mean, like, did they use non-modern tools to build it, or?
Probably.
I don't know. I thought I heard that, but I could be making that up in my head.
I don't know if I've read that anymore.
It was
Or they
very-
probably use modern tools.
They probably did.
There was a plaque somewhere that said like it took like 75 years to build the original ARC, and it took like 3 years to build this one. So I'm guessing it might have
pretty
been
sure
modern
that's
tools.
Yeah. So yeah. Either way, like a really amazing build.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And so was that the last day that you did that, or
The last full day.
The last,
Last
full,
full day.
last full day, and then you traveled all the way back home after
And we
that.
spent a
or?
lot of time on the bus on
On the
that trip.
bus, yeah.
But it was fun though. We all
It was
played
very
games with each
comfortable.
other and
It
we
was
just
very
talked.
comfortable. That helps, yeah.
It was good fellowship with everyone.
I would sleep on the
That's
bus.
just
Honestly, if you had a stomach ache and you just slept on the bus, all the vibration from like the road, it made you feel better.
That's awesome. Good thinking. Good thinking.
It became an obstacle course in that bus.
It did
They
though.
built up, the girls built a
Kristen
wall.
was climbing over all
The
the
adults
chairs. It was really good.
Yeah.
The girls built a
It's the
wall.
only way to get to the
They
back.
built a wall. The girls built a
And
wall.
somehow he tried to do it.
He
I
did.
don't know.
He did. Oh, he did it.
I jumped
I know
over
he
the
did
wall.
it. And Stevie kept on stepping on people. He stepped on my back. And
The joys of riding in a bus on a mission trip,
It
right?
was awesome. I loved
So-
it.
Lots of hours.
So I am kind of curious. So we have kind of an overview of the different activities you did and kind of how it flowed. I mean, what's the takeaway from the trip? I mean, for people that have listened to this, and and they're going, okay, that's an interesting type of trip, you know, and maybe I want to do this. I mean, what is the takeaway? Is there a moment that sticks out where you're like, I see God here, or this is an important thing I want to remember, you know, like this is something I don't want to forget this moment, you know? Is there something that sticks out?
Well, kind of off topic, so Donnie can go first.
Yeah, whoever wants.
Well, honestly, so the main thing that sticks out for me, and I spoke about it, I think, at our last night at St. James, it's just they're all so welcoming. You know, we had planned, it took a year to plan as far as I remember. I don't know. How this all came together. They had 2 showers at St. James with 35 people. No idea how we were going to take a shower
It's a miracle.
in a certain time. But there was a couple of people in the congregation, as well as one of our fun days. We had Andre, who had opened his home to us the first night. Just because we did a little late, but some of the boys really wanted to go take a shower. Some of the girls did, so he luckily lived right across the street.
Oh, okay.
So he gracefully opened his door, not knowing anything about us. You know, the fact that they let strangers into their home, and it was like nothing. Same thing with the church. You know, they didn't know anything about us. As well as I believe it was the Andersons that were in Jersey, and I believe the Browns that I know, and I think there was a Patty. So all these people just welcoming us to their home, not knowing who we are.
That's interesting.
And even, just because I'm a little different this way, when we entered their home, they didn't even follow us around their house. They trusted us to be like, oh yeah, here's your shower, do your thing. And they sat downstairs. So it's like, okay, you know, it's just my upbringing, if you will. It was weird, but they just seemed like it was cool. They welcomed us back again. I didn't go back the second time as I showered in the church. But the fact that there were so many people, again, not knowing who we were, a big group, and welcomed us to come on in.
And kind of restored a person's faith in humanity a little bit, you know, like,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
were those Christian people? I mean,
Yes.
those that were open. I mean, I was gonna say, are we supposed to be known by our love? I mean, there's a song, I guess, like, or a hymn. Know that we were Christian by our love, right? By our love. Anyways, it is interesting. You got to see that, I guess, right? You got to experience that. But
It's so insightful when Dondi pointed that out, because that is a biblical command that we are to show hospitality to strangers, and we got to experience on the receiving side of that hospitality.
It's all just a perspective shift to like recognize how thankful we are to have what we have, and like how lucky we are to live here in the Driftless area. It's just like, you know, seeing a place that is like overtaken by drugs and has so many people and like a lot of struggles that maybe we don't experience. We're really, really lucky to have this kind of perfect little bubble here with an amazing community, and going there just makes you thankful and makes you want to serve and help other people that maybe you didn't even know existed because of what you see here.
It's kind of what I'm getting at, is that after the trip, a little small group of us, we just felt so good about doing work that when we came back, there was a storm in Rushford when we were gone.
yes.
And
Yes, there was.
our town was like, sticks everywhere.
A lot of trees
And
down. Yeah.
We spent a few days picking up the park. Donnie so graciously let us use his truck. We know there was 2. We just went to the one.
Wow.
Wow, so
You
it
had dance
spilled
practice.
over. It spilled over a little bit to home.
Right.
too.
It
That's
it
neat.
was very. And KGTC actually came there and interviewed us while we were cleaning the
Oh,
park.
interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't show us getting interviewed though.
They did.
Aw.
But there was a picture of it, so it did happen. It did happen.
Well, what do you think? What's your takeaway from the trip, or something that really sticks with you that you're like, I want to remember this? Oh.
The people, again.
Yeah.
Like, they are, as Donnie said, like, really welcoming. And I like seeing the smile on people's faces, like, once we served them.
Yeah.
And when we were serving them.
What do you think, Bella? What are your thoughts on it?
I wasn't really listening to the question. What was it?
Yeah. What was your takeaway from the trip? I mean, or main experience that you're like, this is something I definitely want to remember, you know, or I saw God in this moment, or whatever it is.
Did you like it? Was it good? Was it fun?
I like the worshiping parts, like when we were just singing.
Mhm.
Especially when we were singing like Awesome God, God Only Knows. It was very like angelic.
Where was that at St. James or?
I don't remember.
Just during devotions at night.
Okay, night, yeah. Okay,
Did we?
yeah.
Oh yeah, we did. Okay.
You know what really strikes me, I guess, is how you were able to see people in a way, differently from the way the world probably looks at them or how they look at themselves. It's like you were able to see past the stuff that's on them or their situation and kind of see them as people and see that they actually are people like us, even though they're in this situation or wherever they were at. And kind of like Jesus did, I mean, people are always like, why is he hanging out with these people? It's because he could see past that and see them for who they are. And that's what really strikes me about this trip is that you were literally getting to experience that. What's it like to see these people that are cast-offs, literally society, I mean, the bottom of the barrel, as some people would say, and see them as people and experience that. I mean, that's very unique. So.
Several people pointed out to us too, the woman I was telling you about that shared her testimony, but I heard this several times on the trip, that when they go out on the streets and minister to people and just give them water and care, they look them in the eyes so that they are seen, they feel seen. And one of the prison ministry that we heard about, we did a toiletry drive, and had we had this speaker share with us ahead of time, we probably would have got a lot more toiletries.
There's always next time.
It'll probably be another trip.
They're talking about how underserved the women's prison was and how the ridiculous amount of supplies. Like for 1 month, they get a trial size bar of soap, a trial size toothpaste, like 5 sanitary pads, like all of these things, like for 1 month, and anything else they have to work for. Yeah. So, and the woman who was speaking to us, they have a ministry that goes in there, and she says, when women go into prison, a lot of times they get forgotten. Because when the men are in prison, the women in their lives take care of them. So the women's prison doesn't get nearly the support that men do. So she said, a lot of these women, they haven't been called by their first names in years. So she says, I look them in the eyes and I see them. And it just means so much.
Wow. Yeah, that's really heartbreaking. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, that's oof.
One thing to go along with you guys, I don't remember if it was just myself and Bella or Sebastian that I'd spoken with, but I said that you could see the difference in people when we were at Faith is, at first when they seen a bunch of kids serving them food, a lot of them were kind of like, I don't want to say scowling, but just kind of look like, what are you doing here? Kind of just, but that's something I noticed. I'm just kind of like, well, I know that's just them. They're protected. They know they might not see us again, or that they might have a different feeling about us. Yeah. But after some time, they all opened up. The kids weren't all being outright and playful and talkative, if you will. But it took them a while to open up, like you said, to see, hey, these guys aren't here to judge us.
Right.
I think, I said last night, I think it was Abby had mentioned one of her devotions about not judging people, and you yourself also will be judged. But that was it. Is they thought we were judging them and we were there for that or doing something else. But once they realized, well, they're just here to help, to serve, and I won't say entertain, but to play with the kids, make them basically be on the same level. I'm not better than you. You're not on the level where you can't have somebody here.
We're all people.
Yeah, we're all people, regardless of where you are, regardless of where we are.
The whole world should learn that lesson, right? Oh my.
I got a couple of takeaways I'd love to share too.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
One is pour into the youth at your church. Pour into the youth. I think it was Ani's feedback on a forum maybe that gave me this thought, how valuable it is. We couldn't have done this trip without the amazing team of adult leaders that we had. And these chaperones who help plan the trip and go on the trip, they sacrifice hours and hours through meetings and going on this trip, taking time off of work, sacrificing showers at times. And when you see the fruit of of that. I mean, these things couldn't happen without the support of the parents and leaders that we have. Another takeaway is that our churches can come together. We had 10 congregations represented on this trip, and on the back of our shirts, if somebody wants to show the back of your shirt there, maybe. It's got all the churches listed, plus the ones that we connected with on the trip as well. So we connected with like so many churches on the road too. You know, we slept in 3 different church basements.
There, can you see it?
Yep.
She'll zoom in on it.
I got
Flex
it.
it.
Flex.
So a lot of churches, you can see the list.
Yeah.
So when we come together as the body of Christ, when we can put our denominational differences aside, and we don't have to talk about the things that divide us, we can talk about the things that unite us. And by living out the greatest commandment, to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, all our minds, and all our souls, and to love our neighbors as ourselves, when we unite around that, beautiful things can happen. Like we mentioned, some of the things, the mission began before we left home. These kids were working for months to get supplies for a food pantry, and all these places like in West Virginia where they've got a lot of poverty, a lot of homelessness, a lot of drug abuse. And we had made friends with them 2 years ago, and through relationship, I mean, they worked on this end of the trip to get supplies to bring to these people. And we bring them to these people and they're like, wow, what you guys in Minnesota are getting stuff for us in West Virginia. And you know, some people also would say, oh, why are you doing the mission trip so far away? There's people that have needs here in Minnesota. And of course there are, but it's
Because we want to take a bus.
and the kids brought home this enthusiasm to serve at home too. But it's kind of like, once you get out and you see how profound the need is in other places, it kind of motivates you in a different way.
I think that's a wonderful point to make, and it makes me think, you know, what if every city, all the churches did this, you know, something like this, some sort of a mission trip together where they just kind of set differences aside and they're like, let's get everyone together and do this, you know. What an impact it would have in our world. I mean, that just gives me goosebumps thinking about that. Like,
You guys were the
thing that would
hands
happen.
and the feet of Jesus.
I mean, God will use that, you know, to change things. So, incredible. So I hope this is an encouragement to everyone watching, you know. Maybe God has put it on your heart that you're supposed to be the one to organize this in your own community, you know. Maybe God's called you to do that, or your family, or your church, or whoever it might be. Be encouraged, because this was certainly a blessing to this group, I know. My kids who were on the trip were greatly blessed by it too. Some experiences they'll remember long into their lives, I'm sure, and build upon, I think, is the big takeaway here. So be praying about that, right? And we'll start praying for the next one too, right? Is there going to be another trip? Is that at some point? So is this going to be an annual thing, or 2 years, or 3 years, or what do you think it's going to be? There's a lot of prep work that went into this, I know. So.
We said at RLC, our plan was to do one every other year, but I know there's students who said they would love to go on one next year, and I said, if it is led by you guys, if you guys take the lead on it, I will help you facilitate it. Because it is a lot of work. It's a ton of work. You know, it's a ton of work.
A lot of coordinating.
But it's so worth it.
It is.
I said we should go to Oregon next.
Going to the west side.
I don't know what it is about Oregon.
And to note about mission trips too, that things do not go as you plan. That, you know, you got to just roll with what happens, because sometimes everything turns upside down.
Right.
And
it's not your plan.
Yep, that's right. It's not our plan.
That's right.
We kind of like to have our ducks in a row, and sometimes the ducks fly away. But the kids also, you got to experience that, like, follow God's lead.
Well, anything else we should add for the people at home, or should we land this plane? What do you think? For now?
Ready to land the plane?
The plane is ready for landing.
The plane is ready to land. Okay.
The bus is ready to park.
There you go.
No, I want.
Well, Well, certainly keep the future trips in your prayers at home, and be thinking about this, praying about this if maybe you're supposed to organize one, and encourage those around you to do the same. So, well, thanks for joining us again this week.